In this video, I'll share my journey and the lessons I've learned after selling on Etsy full time as a print on demand seller. Lesson number one, choose a niche that you actually enjoy. You're going to be designing products for your niche constantly and dealing with people who are really into your niche. That's why I strongly suggest you choose a niche that you're actually passionate about. I personally wasn't super passionate about my niche, and that really helped me back from taking this thing to a Shopify and actually building a brand. I did collect my customer emails on Etsy, and then I would occasionally send them a newsletter, and they actually bought from my Shopify store. But because my passion simply wasn't there, I just found it almost impossible to really work on this brand. I could have made just a ton more money if I'd done Etsy combined with other platforms, but you kind of need to be a little bit, into your niche. Otherwise, it's just going to be very, very, very difficult. Lesson number two, Etsy is seasonal. That's why you will notice these huge spikes in traffic and sales during key holidays like Mother's Day and, of course, Q4. And that starts around Halloween all the way to December 15th, right before Christmas. Realistically, you can expect about a 50% increase in conversion. Mine went from 2.25% during the regular months to 3.45% in November and December. For context, my sales went from 14K in October to 34K in November. That is a huge seasonal spike, and that's what Etsy is all about. If you want to capitalize on that, which you should, get your store ready for those key holidays. Now, I would suggest you create specific Christmas versions of your listings and your existing bestsellers, and then just create good Christmas specific designs and add them gradually starting September. Now, it's important that you don't list all these Christmas listings all at the same time. That's not good. You want to publish them daily and sort of drip feed them starting in September and, get ready for the spike in November, December. Also, I never published after October. So I never published in November or December just to leave the algorithm alone and just get sales off your existing rankings, right? So Etsy doesn't try to re-index everything in your store, which could actually bring your rankings down. So that's another tip. Then lesson number three, know your numbers. So I did let's see, 234, 230, 232,405 euros in Etsy revenue in 2022. What does that mean? Nothing. Because if you don't understand your numbers, you will still be broke and struggling with money if you are right now. You have to keep tab of all your Etsy fees, ad costs, and your supplier costs like Printify, Printful, and other suppliers. This isn't like merch on Amazon or Redbubble where you simply get a commission that's pure profit. No, you actually have to pay your suppliers first. So out of that 332K, I received in my bank account 203,000 euros. Now I paid my suppliers 162. So that's only 41K profit left. Then I had expenses like my co-working space, software like Everbee, Photoshop, Canva, VPN. Then I also hired designers on Upwork and other platforms that year. And I bought supplies from Etsy, and also some other fees like credit cards. So at the end of the day, that's only 29K left. That's pre-tax, by the way. So know your numbers. It is so important. So receiving 203K in your business bank account may feel like a lot, but it doesn't work that way. If you're struggling with finances in general, like I was, I strongly suggest that you start looking at your numbers every single day. Because if you ignore this and you don't know your profits, it will just get more difficult over time. Lesson number four. And number four, actually, four, Etsy stores don't always grow year over year. So when I got into this business, I was very optimistic, and that optimism, it did lead me to taking action and building my Etsy store. So that's good. Optimism can be good. However, I also made the assumption that my Etsy store would simply grow year over year. And that was my logic. And it sounded very logical to me at the time because, hey, I have a bunch of listings. I keep adding more listings. Well, the old listings still there and they still get sales. So I can only make more and more year over year. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. So at the end of the day, you're just a very small cog in the huge Etsy machine. They could change their algorithm overnight. Your bestsellers can go from 30 sales a month to just 3 sales a month. They could just change their layout and start sending traffic that's on your listings to competitors' listings. Hey, they could even ban your entire Etsy store. And that brings me back to point number one, because choose a niche that you enjoy, then you can start to gradually take it to your own Shopify store, right? And if you have your own brand, you also have much more control and you're less reliant on the Etsy gods to bring you customers. It's it's like, okay, it's the difference between having a lemonade stand at a festival and having your own lemonade store, okay? The festival has some sort of organization that's unpredictable. You can't communicate them. They charge you massive fees, and it might rain, so people may not even show up. Okay. Having your own lemonade store, you have a lot more control, consistent traffic, and you can run ads. I mean, there's no lemonade store, but you get it. You get my point. Oh, that's another thing. Your own Shopify store, it actually goes up in value and you can grow it year over year. A Shopify store can be sold for 20 months of profit on a website like Flippa, for example, whereas an Etsy store, it cannot be sold. It's not an asset. That's a very important thing to remember. And all the time that you put into your Etsy store, it's kind of an exchange for an income, but it's not investing into an asset that can be sold or increase in value over time. Lesson number five, it's a low margin business that's difficult to scale. I've kind of touched on this point in number three, but just realize even $1,000 in Etsy t-shirt sales probably is more like 100 or 200 for you to keep, and that's pre-tax. Okay, so if you were to sell some service like social media management or local web design to a local company for 1,000, you actually get to keep closer to 1,000. Also, imagine the difference between waking up to 10 sales on Etsy that profit you $100 or 10 high margin Shopify sales totaling a 500 profit. That's a huge difference in motivation. Etsy is also quite difficult to scale. So if your shop is making 2K per month in profit, how would you scale that to 6K? Like how? Yeah, you can add more listings, you create more bestsellers, but when you have more listings, you also have more listings to manage. Weed out the ones that don't sell, you have more customer support, basically just more work. Now, I have to also admit that the daily Etsy routine of doing research, creating designs, making the sales, it's fun. It's a fun business to run, but it's closer to a fun job than it is to a real scalable business. It's good experience. Like if you've never done e-commerce before and you want to get your feet wet, it's pretty good experience. I have to admit that. And I also have to admit that I did live off of my Etsy income for 4 years full time and I did enjoy it. So all I'm saying is that while Etsy is a really fun way to make money online, it's not an asset and it's not really a sustainable business in my humble opinion. So, lesson number 6, listing consistently on bestsellers. Now, I know that I'm not really doing a good job at selling you this business model right here, but there are ways to scale your Etsy POD store. So, first of all, consistently listing about 1 to 3 listings per day. And if your store is already making like 10, 20 sales a day, you can go ahead and list more like 3 to 5 drafts per day. But you need to constantly list and keep creating new products. Now, I noticed that 5% of my listings brought in 85% of my sales. However, do not make the mistake of thinking that you should remove the rest because it does not mean that you should just go for quality. Like you do need quantity, okay? The more listings you have, the more people will find your shop. Now, especially during Christmas, you want as many people to find your shops for as many different keywords as possible that is relevant to your store. with as many high quality designs possible. So having 800 listings live is almost always better than having 80. You probably won't even see consistent sales until you have 100 live listings. So go ahead and create crossover niches. What are other niches that people in your niche might be interested in, and create those products as well. Number 7, payment reserve. So this really sucks, but Etsy has the right to place a payment reserve on your account whenever they please. So this might happen after you ship a few orders late, or if a copyright complaint is filed against you. And this literally means that Etsy can withhold your funds for 45 days until you add tracking and the tracking starts to move, or they will just hold it for 45 days. So anything that has no tracking, or any tracking that doesn't start to move and it's stuck in like pre-transit, you're not going to get the money for 45 days. Okay. And the only way to combat this is to just have enough money in your bank account so you can pay your Printify or Printful. And yeah, this has also happened to me like right before Christmas at some point. So that really, it can really suck. Okay. It can really suck. Number 8, always keep moving with the trends. Now, always, so what does this mean? It's like, is always keep doing research, always keep looking out for trends and niches and things that you can add to your store, like find crossover niches, new designs, but also at the same time be unique. Like, don't just copy other stores and copy exactly what they're doing, because everyone is doing that, you see. So try to create designs in your niche or for your audience that they would enjoy. I think at some point I was actually the biggest store in my niche just because I did that. So that really works, guys. Number 9, be even more unique. Like, why stop there? Because everyone's already selling t-shirts, mugs, hoodies, sweatshirts, candles. You know this. And other products like towels, yoga pants, they're just not really selling on Etsy en masse. Plus, Etsy customers usually want to buy products in the $10 to $30 range. So high margin products usually don't work that well when it comes to POD on Etsy. So why not sell highly unique canvas prints that nobody else is doing? Or why not contact a leather engraving business and ask them to do custom orders for you? That way you're not doing Printify like everyone else, but you're offering products that are more unique. Remember, Etsy is a gifting platform, so where people look for unique and personalized gifts. Okay. Why, like, here are some ideas that are show you on your screen right now. Custom engraved whiskey barrel. Now that is a highly unique product. If you can do a little bit of research, because this is not standard POD, but if you can do some research, find a supplier that can make these for you custom on an order per order basis, you'd have a highly unique Etsy product that you can actually, sell for a higher price as well. No one's going to suspect that you're doing POD with something like that. Custom text metal sign, another high margin product, probably a pretty good one too. No one is doing this, by the way. So that would be a very unique edge to have on Etsy. And then what you would do is partner with a small business that makes these, that could make them custom. And these are actually higher margin products that can be turned into a real brand with your Shopify store over time. So, yes, you need to manually send emails to the suppliers, but you can also automate that. For example, you could use Google Sheets to scrape the Etsy orders from your email and automatically put them in a Google Sheet once a day, and then automatically email that Google Sheet to your supplier. So you can actually automate this process or hire a VA for cheap. There's definitely money to be made on Etsy. It's a fantastic way to get started. It's a fantastic way to start learning about e-commerce. But if you want to make more money, you have to think outside the box and ultimately probably move it to your own Shopify so you can start branding, start working with influencers, start running ads, and actually like have an asset. All right, that's it for me, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this was helpful at all to you. If you have any questions or anything you want me to discuss in further videos, just let me know down in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.